The state's Chapter 40B law allows developers to bypass some local planning regulations if less than 10% of housing in a municipality is defined as affordable. Although Needham surpassed that threshold years ago, with over 12% of local housing stock now deemed affordable under state standards, town officials recognize there are still significant unmet housing needs, and it's time to revisit the local housing dynamic. The Needham Housing Plan Working Group, composed of elected officials and ordinary residents, was charged to establish a strategic action plan by October. To obtain a better understanding of what changes local residents want to see, the working group is hosting a listening session at 7 p.m. on Thursday, January 27th. Municipal producer Yuxiao Yuan talked to Jean McKnight, the co-chair of the working group, on the local challenges and how the town will include public engagement in this effort.
Over her 35 years as a Needham resident and 15 years as a member of the planning board, Jean McKnight witnessed the town's gradual efforts to expand housing supply. The town of Needham created zoning districts for apartments, promoted mixed-use development in commercial areas, and now allows accessory dwelling units for single-family homes. But the notably soaring housing prices indicates the current housing stock is far from enough. According to the town's recent housing and zoning analysis, as of September 2021, the median single-family house price was $1.3 million, and the median condo price was $862,000, an increase of 22% and 7% from 2019.
Our children didn't even look at Needham. They knew they couldn't afford it, even though they are educated professionals. We can't provide for our own children in this town.
One major challenge for the town to produce affordable housing is its limited developable land. Needham is mostly zoned for single-family housing, and changing the allowable lot size in those areas could be difficult.
Most likely, we're going to kind of leave that alone. I'm just not sure there would be enough support for changing our lot sizes.
The high activity of replacing old small homes with substantially larger and more expensive ones has been the driving force that pushes sales prices over $1 million.
People said, we've got to do something about that. Well, I was on a committee, but we thought about what we could do about that. And there really is very little you can do, because people have a right to tear down and rebuild. We did adjust the setbacks so the impact on neighbors would not be so great. And we had incentives for the design of the building so it wouldn't be a big square box and you'd have pleasant windows and porches. We did that, but I'm not sure we really had much impact.
McKnight said a main focus could be exploring more diverse housing types close to the downtown area.
You take Honeywell Street and then you go down the hill toward Rosemary Lake. You've got a big industrial zone. It may be that there are sites in that industrial zone, walk to train, walk to the senior center, walk to shopping, that would be appropriate for multifamily housing. Another business strip, really central one in our town, is between May Street, where the funeral homes are, and then you go up to Roach Brothers. That whole strip, business zone, there's no provision for any kind of multifamily housing. So we'll be considering whether multifamily housing will be appropriate for some of these sites.
But she also recognized that not many developers have taken advantage of the downtown area, where zoning allows commercial and residential mixed-use developments.
The Housing Plan Working Group will be taking a look at that, talking with developers. Why hasn't there been more action? And we require 12.5% of affordable units, of units in these developments to be affordable at 80% of median income. And for example, that an 8-unit building, that would mean 1 unit. But I really don't think that's the discouraging factor.
Adding new affordable housing in towns like Needham can encounter opposition from residents who are concerned high-density developments will disturb the suburban lifestyle. McKnight said a useful tool is through the special permit process, where the planning board can impose conditions on a project to minimize its negative effects.
I know the state, like the recent housing choice bill that was passed by the state, they're very keen on the zoning bylaw allowing this housing by right. Whereas in Needham, we rely very much on special permits. We require a special permit. We want to take a particular look at that project and consider its impact and impose conditions that will make sure that we control the traffic flow, and various factors. So I don't think we'll abandon that. I don't think going forward that we would say, yeah, we're going to have housing by right.
Although the soon-to-be available 2020 census data will draw a more accurate picture of the gap between supply and demand, McKnight said the working group wants to hear first-hand resident views on the most pressing housing needs. The listening session on the 27th will be the first of 4 workshops over the next few months, where the group hopes to gather as much public input as possible as it develops the town's new housing strategy.
We really want to hear from people what they perceive to be the housing needs, what their ideas are for addressing these needs.
Interested residents can find more information about Needham's current housing situation on the town's website. You can also watch the affordable housing program hosted by the Needham League of Women Voters on our website. For the Needham Channel News, I'm Yu Xiaoyuan.